Okay, so next up, we have a special treat. I was able to get introduced to Brittany Reely, who was the first hire at Homebot, and she ran the customer success at Homebot for 7 years through their biggest growth. And she's agreed to sit down with me and help me validate some of my ideas and what we're doing. And so that's what we're going to do. So that's why Ownwell is the core of my strategy and build mode. We talked about that just now. It's not just the tech, it's the engine behind everything that I'm building here. I just going all in on it. And so before I show you how I pitch this in the real world, let's talk to Brittany first. Okay, good morning, Brittany. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. So, as I mentioned before, I know you and I chatted a little bit about, but why don't you give us a quick sort of bio, kind of, who you are, how you got here, not how you got here physically today, but you know what I mean? Like, how do you get here in the business world, and tell us a little bit about your early days at HomeBot.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up in a family of like my mom and dad both being involved in real estate, one kind of doing flips, one doing long-term rentals. I knew I was always going to be interested in it. After college, I got my own license and managed my own portfolio of properties and eventually got found by HomeBot and was the first hire there. Full time and was with them for 6 years. Saw that company go from 0 to 100.
What was it like then? Like part of this series is also sort of working on the life of like startup life or the founder life. I mean, what was it like being in that like early days, big vision, but no idea
A
how
lot
we're
of
going to pull
fun.
this off?
A lot of fun. Yeah, you don't know if you're gonna make it, but every day you have hope and faith, and you're just solving the next most important problem. And you get to wear so many different hats. It's a lot of fun. You get to work with customers and in support or with data and billing, all sorts of problems that you might never know you're gonna face. In a startup, nothing exists, so you're starting everything from scratch, and it's a lot of fun to see something come to fruition, and especially be successful.
Have no, I don't know even who the original founders are, so I have no information on them, but what was it like? Like, how did they get you to be employee number one? Like, what was the vision? Like, what did they sell you on? I mean, look, you had a great, real estate portfolio. Things are
Well, at
rolling.
that time,
How the hell
I
did they get you to do this?
At that time, I didn't have a portfolio. I was very young and early in my
Oh,
career,
okay. Okay.
and they had just signed their first customer, needed a customer success manager. I imagine when they were looking to hire this role, they're probably searching people with SaaS, customer success
Yeah,
management
yeah.
experience, and real estate. And there I popped up with my real estate license and in SaaS and a little technical. So I was kind of like this perfect blend of experience that they needed where they didn't have to teach real estate. I already had my license. I already understood the customer and the problem space. And when they showed me the product as a new homeowner at the time, putting in my home and seeing what's my net worth, well, how could I save on interest? There wasn't much selling. And I think that's what the homeowner experience is as well, is they get to see this really personalized report on their home and it speaks for itself. So I was gung ho from the start. I thought, what an awesome project or product. And I was passionate about it and the problem they're solving, helping homeowners build wealth. There wasn't much to sell.
That's a really good point. Because it's, and more for our audience later, is like that's been the crux of how I'm enrolling realtors and just enroll their own house into it. It's like it just
Yep.
sells itself. It's unbelievable. But anyway, okay. So you and I chatted a little bit before about what my strategy and kind of what I'm thinking about and building this new mortgage practice from scratch. And I right off the bat said I was going to build this on a platform of Ownwell, which is the Canadian version of HomeBot. And my hypothesis, so I'd like your comment on this. So you got a wealth of experience being, especially in customer success, because you were dealing with people like me like all the
Yep.
time, and helping them be successful. So perfect. I'm so glad you're here. So my my strategy is that I'm involved in two other businesses. So this particular startup is kind of like I need to get some traction. I need to get some success kind of going right out of the gate, as opposed to a typical way you might start a mortgage practice where you're kind of like getting some ground, but it takes a while to get the leads happening. It takes a while to get the flywheel moving. One of my core things was, if I can get people's databases and move them in and then start showing people, I would get some immediate leads. Like I would get a bulk of leads. And so that's number one. And then number two was going to realtors in today's day. I was thinking like, oh man, I what am I going to say that they haven't heard before? Like, hey, I'm a mortgage broker. I'm really good at what I do. I smile a lot. I'll be available 24/7 and I'll take care of your clients. Or I got great rates. Like, what am I going to say? So I like the idea of bringing something new to the realtors, well, particularly in Canada, because nothing like this exists. So
Mhm.
those were my sort of two core pillars as to why I said, look, I'm going to build the entire foundation of this startup on Ownwell. Tell me what you think of that.
I think you're on the right track. You're doing exactly what I think a tool like Ownwell or Homebot is designed to do. There are mortgage brokers who already have a database. It's going to work great for them. It's going to be a warm lead. They already know this person. But for someone newly entering the industry, it's a great tool for them too, especially as they need to find value in these realtor partnerships. And you need to offer value to the realtors. Offering a tool like Ownwell, especially if you're able to provide it to them for free, which you're not able to do in the US due to different RESPA laws. But in Canada, you're able to offer them this tool for free, keep their clients engaged, and also put your face on the digest or the report as well. So being able to take a cold lead into a warm lead by leveraging this referral network through the realtor or other partnerships is a great way to start building your database.
Let's dig a little bit into that so for a second. Like, what's been your experience? Like, I think like how realtors typically would respond to Homebot or Ownwell, like, in terms of this here, I got something to show you. It's really cool. Like, what has been your success in terms of seeing how realtors respond to that?
One thing I want to point out is most often when you're working with a homeowner and you ask them who was their loan officer, their mortgage broker, they probably don't remember a year from now. They're
Yeah.
always going to remember their agent. And so the agent is going to be top of mind sooner than the loan officer or the mortgage broker. And then when you show this to your agent, they're not going to have this already in Ownwell. And just like when I first saw my home report, it's going to speak for itself. You'll hardly have to sell it to realtors. There are some caveats that come with it. Like, what if the home value is off? That's probably the most common one. But positioning this as a conversation starter rather than an objection. It's getting a conversation going. Well, let me give you a CMA. Let me tell you what your home could be worth. Let's try to get you to exactly the answers you need because what you can't control is where that client is going to be in their stage of life in their journey, and that will change, but you want to be ready to help them when the time comes. And so when a realtor sees this, it's not about if they're ready today, their clients are ready today. It's whether they want to stay top of mind in 6 months from now or a year from now when that time is right. So realtors want to stay top of mind, and it gives you that opportunity to be there as well so that they don't forget who you are from the mortgage broker perspective.
Cool. Okay, good. I thought that. So, all right, switch gears here a little bit. I got another one for you to give me some insight on what you think from your experience. But here's my hypothesis of the math, called Ownwell math. So I started this thinking, okay, well, if I had 1,000 people, just use easy math, in my database, in Canada right now, because I know the market's a little different. Like interest, like most people only lock in for the longest of 5 years, and the rates have been trending a bit downward in the last year or so. And so what we're finding is anybody who bought a house in the last three-ish sort of years, there's pretty good chance that they could save some money. So that's the starting position. So I know that can shift, but right now that's what we're dealing with. So I was thinking, okay, if I have 1,000 people go in, 15% of those people would have an opportunity to save, or what I would call a lead. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it, but they're going to be interested. They're going to be like, holy shit, I could save money. All right.
And that's
And then
probably a low number as well.
yeah,
15% is probably conservative.
yeah, I got a small sample size so far, and you're right. The numbers have been a bit better than that, so that's good. I like to be conservative, but okay. And then of the leads I get, I'm saying 25% of those I'll close into deals. Like multiple reasons why people might not want to jump out, too much hassle, blah blah blah. Who knows? Whatever's going on in their life. Although I have, again, a small sample size, I've been realizing people then take this opportunity to debt consolidate, renovate. They like, it's been very interesting. So that ends up being about 4%. I think it's 3.75% of deals that I could make. And I'm sort of saying in the first year. So 1,000 people in, 37 deals. What do you think? Does that seem reasonable?
I think it's a conservative number because at 15% being eligible for a saving opportunity or due to get a new loan term, that's even lower than what the real number is probably going to be, especially when you're seeing these 3 to 5 year average terms. So I think that's an even a conservative starting point of your funnel. And then if you get 30% of those, I think that's absolutely reasonable, especially if you're going to show them something they've never seen before, Ownwell. That's going to be very interesting to them. And that's going to give an emotional response and be memorable and have more weight than what every other mortgage broker is saying is, yeah, I'll answer your phone calls. It's much more powerful to be able to interact with a tool, mess with the value of their home, and see what opportunities they really have.
Okay, cool. Good. I got some confidence now. So thank you for that. So let's switch gears again. Like in your experience, so back to what I alluded to earlier when I was thinking about this pitch and thinking about how I was going to grow fast out of the gate and going to realtors. I was thinking like if I go with the old standard pitch, often I've noticed in the past with mortgage brokers I've spoke to that the realtor often will, especially like what the kind of realtors I'm liking is medium to higher producing agents,
Mhm.
business-minded people. But they often have somebody else they work with or have worked with, or like I have a guy, and so then I was like, okay, with my standard pitch is kind of like maybe I'm just waiting in the wings to see if that person screws up or if maybe they feel like, hey, let's give this new guy a try. Whereas in your experience, when the mortgage brokers start showing the power of Homebot, in my case, Ownwell, what did you see where that partnership got firmer, where now the realtor was actually more willing to send more of their existing deals, not just their database, but their existing day-to-day deals? Like how did, like think about some of the, more successful loan officers and like what some of the stories you remember.
So, not all realtors are built the same, and a lot of what a loan officer or mortgage broker will do is get as many realtor partnerships as they can. They're not all going to pan out, they're not all going to choose you, but it starts with a numbers game, getting as many as you can and start building those relationships. If they are willing to give you that first deal, then it's on you to take it from there. And if you are confident in your abilities to bring that transaction smoothly to close, and you're giving this value of Ownwell at the same time that no one else is offering them, they're going to be likely to keep using you, especially if this realtor wants to keep engaging their clients on Ownwell. So I have seen those relationships grow, and it just starts with one. You need one realtor to start using you, and then you have to close that deal, and they'll say, this is a really great relationship, and start building from there. But like I said, not all realtor relationships are the same. Not every realtor becomes a power user or has a big database, but by hopefully getting your name out there, you start to identify those and build those relationships appropriately.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I just get a sense, even from the couple realtors I've already had some good success with this pitch, that I was getting leads from them sooner than I think I otherwise would have. Because I sort of feel like they think, wow, this is my new guy, my new partner, because he's bringing me this really cool tool. So I wanted to see
Mhm.
if you thought that you saw that. Now, thinking about some of your in the past, some of the loan officers that you saw have big success, like what do you remember kind of what their strategies were? Did they only work with realtors or like where else? What like did you remember seeing anybody who said, look, Homebot's going to be the core of my business? Like this, I'm building my business on Homebot. Like, do you remember any of those,
Yeah, that's absolutely what some of our most powerful users have done. And it starts with one realtor partnership and hopefully more and more and more. They're not all going to provide the same amount of value, but you're trying to find the best ones and you can just keep building and building and building, letting your sales team grow through realtor clients, and then those clients who refer other friends and family, and they just keep growing that way. Another way that we've seen a lot of success is through social media. So using video, that's a very popular, engaging way to get people to know your brand, build trust, see your face. You want your face and your story, your brand to be memorable. And so the more people you have co-branding, marketing with you, the better. And then not just with realtors, if there's opportunity in Canada to use financial advisors and insurance agents, that's just another like power multiplier. And it's probably a less saturated market too. Those insurance agents and financial advisors are probably just as eager and chomping at the bits to get their clients onto a tool like Ownwell as well.
Hmm. Okay. Cool. Well, okay. I hadn't thought. I'm gonna think. I'm gonna call my marketing agency, I think, and just discuss. I like this idea, like, on social or otherwise, like just sort of that people are scrolling and you're kind of like, hey, do you have a mortgage? Would you like to learn more? Or hey, do you want to know what your home's worth? Like I could see the
Mhm.
hooks and
Yeah,
then getting
and
them to come to a landing page.
some of our users became so successful, they had to hire an admin or someone on their team to help manage the database because there would be responses asking, hey, is this value of my home right? Or can you pre-qual me? So you can get big enough that you might need a dedicated resource to help you manage this. And I think that's a great problem to have.
I agree. Okay, we were speaking earlier about what you had been thinking about coming into this meeting at that you thought, hey, I really think that the opportunity in Canada might actually be even bigger than what you experienced with some of the loan officers in the US. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, well, in the US, we typically see much longer terms, 15, 30 years most common, whereas in Canada, most terms are 3 to 5 years, which means you have a much larger portion of your book being expiring or up for renewal every single year. In the US, when you're locked in a 30-year term and you've got a 3% interest rate where currently interest rates are 6, 7%, a lot of your book of business probably refied at a much lower rate and is not going to be looking to do a transaction anytime soon. But in Canada, that forcing function comes a lot more frequently, every 3 to 5 years. So the timing is always right around the corner. It may not be today, but it's not going to be decades away. So I think Ownwell is in an even better position to consistently, regardless of the market, be relevant and have an even stronger opportunity to make a really big stand in up in Canada. You're staying visible, you're staying top of mind, and it's not just about like the retention, but keeping those clients who may have used another broker by offering them a new tool that they don't have today.
Yeah, that just reminded me of an actual couple other pieces of my original like vision for this build. Let me see what you think of these. One was I think we shared this earlier where I said, I read this book by Jeff Bezos a while ago, and he said, I focused when I was building Amazon, I focused on the things that would never change. And so I thought about that. And I thought, well, in our market, the things that'll never change is the market is changing all the time. Like interest rates
Oh
are
yeah.
changing, the market's changing, and people's lives change.
Yep.
People get married, people get divorced, people want to get a rental property, people want to be renovate, people need debt consolidations, like life. And so I thought, to your point, it's like we focus so far on the immediate, like the people come in and I got an immediate chance to get some business. But really, the truth is that over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I just need to land in their inbox every day, pardon me, every month.
Yep.
And eventually, when one of those two things happen, the market changes or their life changes, I'm there. And so that was my theory. Like as the years go on and I build a bigger and bigger database, that continually actually drives more business. That was one of my core tenets. Like, did you see that in your experience when they built the database? Like more and more
Yep.
opportunities came.
Yep, it's not just about who's up for renewal now. It's a great tool for that, for the immediate term, and you can filter your clients based off of that. But what you just said is entirely true. The database is always in motion. Life events are always changing. The market is always changing, and you want to be the one that they are thinking about when the time comes for that decision. So you are offering a competitive advantage over most other brokers who are not already on the platform. So this keeps you top of mind for when that time does come. And you don't know when it's going to be, and neither do they. But when it's time, you've been sending this for the last 6 months or for the last 18 months, and they're going to remember you.
Yeah, like I think you're a marketing expert too. I think you like currently my Ownwell data is the open rates are just north of 70% and
Yeah.
the click-through rates are around 60. So those are pretty dramatically different numbers than a typical database marketing scheme that any particular loan officer might do.
Oh, the engagement stats on a tool like this are exponentially higher than any typical digital campaign. And it just proves how much people care about this, how
Yeah.
engaging it is. And they continue to click every month. They want to know how has my home value changed? And that's the most important part is not just they may not know you to start. It's a warmish lead through your realtor, but they're going to keep seeing your face. They're going to warm up to it. And when they are ready for that question, they're going to reach out to you.
Yeah, I don't know who did this, whether it was Dan or somebody, but I just as a funny side story, this morning I got my own well report. Like just, I'm obviously registered myself in it. And the
Mhm.
email, very simple, little subject line, find your home value's been updated or something like that. Like, it's about my home value. Like I'm
Yep.
clicking that. And as opposed to if you just sent me the report and I'm busy, I might just scroll by it or I might delete it. And so I think it's built really smart that way. It
It's kind of
forces
like
some
your
engagement.
credit score. You get an updated credit score every month. You're just curious to know about yourself,
Yeah,
about the things you care about. And so I'm like, what's my credit score this month? And I may not be looking to do anything financially right now, but I'm still curious what it says. And that's the same concept
it
with a
is.
tool
Yeah.
like Ownwell is like, I might not be ready, but I'm curious and I'm still engaged.
Yeah. And in my case, my home value went up. So then now I'm also feeling uplifted. And now I'm
Yep, you're
feeling
getting a
like,
positive feedback
yeah,
loop. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, so that I think further solidifies my engagement with that particular report. So next time it comes, I'm opening it again because we've developed a relationship. And lastly,
Mhm.
just before, I know you got to go, but I remembered another reason I liked this strategy was even people I have adopted mortgages. So I didn't actually do their original mortgage like realtor databases or whatever. Um, I have this hypothesis, see if you have some real experience to prove that or validate it, that they're out in their life and they've been getting my report for the last 8 months, 9 months, and they're excited, they're interested. And then they're at the barbecue and somebody says, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying a house." Like I imagined this scenario where some people would be like, "Oh my God, you got to go see these two, the realtor and the mortgage. Look at the," and they could pull it up on their phone and like, "Look at this report that I get every month. I love it." Like I imagined that there would be more engaging referrals. What have you seen any data or any
Oh
anecdotal
yeah.
stories about that?
Like a very popular feature is the ability to share your sign up link. And so if you're a realtor or a mortgage broker and you're at an open house or a networking event or at the barbecue, or if you're even a homeowner, you can refer other homeowners, you can add clients or potential clients right there on the fly and give them in real time, look at your house. And that's an immediate like trigger for them of this is interesting and I want this. And so that can come straight from you, from your realtor, or from your homeowner clients themselves referring their own friends and
Ah,
family.
okay. And you saw like people that sign up, that referral process was actually quite strong.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
Because people get
cool.
excited about their own home. They're like, look at this cool tool. You want one? And they want to share it. And
Yeah,
then those people then respond and say, this is really cool.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, hey, listen, Brittany, thank you. I mean, this has been really helpful for me. You know that you were in the startup life too, and I know you're doing some cool shit right now, but for me, it's just like how I like that it's helpful for me to have some validation around, I'm on the right path. So I'm really grateful for your time and helping us out
Absolutely.
and our audience.
And
So
probably even better position with that Canadian mortgage.
yes, yes. Okay, thank you. All right, well, cool. I'll let you go and thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks so much. Bye.
Well, there you have it. Wow. Number one, first employee at Homebot. Homebot was a massive success. And I think a lot of my hypothesis and the things that I was thinking about. I mean, look, I like the idea of having some validation, but the truth is, I trust people that have been there. I trust the people that, in my whole career, I've always looked at, well, who's already been where I want to go, and what can they teach me? And so I liked the fact that, she has some very, very good insight into how this will work. I mean, one of my core beliefs about this was, sometimes, look, we have a lot of software that we ought to do, and in Ownwell in Canada is new. And so oftentimes we're like, well, is this even going to work? Or is it too much hassle? How do I know if I put the effort in, am I going to get the results? I liked it right from the very beginning, knowing that the Homebot has already proven that this works. And so for me, it was the right thing. So here we are. We got it. The vision's locked in. The platform's locked in. Let's go get some customers.